Hey guys, Shay here from Fool on a Journey. So I'm trying another camera angle and we'll see how this goes. I am doing a review of Circle of Life Tarot. It was published by Los Scarabeo. I've actually filmed this a few times because I could never really get what I was trying to say across. So this time I'm just going to be super direct. I think the art on the cards is really pretty. There are quite a few cards that I'm really in love with. But in the end, the guidebook is so bad that it's not for me. If you haven't figured out from my channel, I'm very into what's going on in the guidebooks and what's being written about this. And just what was written is just not good. I actually think, and this may not be true, obviously I have no way of knowing this, but it seems like the person who wrote the guidebook only saw like preliminary drawings of the cards and maybe didn't see the finished product, because there are actual discrepancies in what they describe and what's on the cards, to the point that I feel like if you looked at this picture, there's no way you thought that. And the only thing that I could come up with that would make that possible is that they literally didn't see the finished product, or they just really need glasses super bad. I don't know. I'm trying to stay positive here, but while giving an honest opinion. If you would like to see a totally negative review with just nothing positive to say, well, there were a couple of positive cards she still managed to mention, you can watch Lantern Lights Tarot. I'll link it below. She's in the process of getting rid of a bunch of decks, so she's definitely looking for things to go wrong, and she found quite a few and decided to get rid of this deck. If you would like to see a positive review, Danny Mystic did one, and I will link that below, so you can kind of decide going in. If you're somebody who really does not look at guidebooks, if you just do the cards, look good to me, I'll read with it, great, then 100% I think this is the way to go. However, in this guidebook, we are talking boo-koodles of typos. They're just everywhere. And then again, like I've already mentioned, just the actual discrepancies where what they say is in the card is literally not what's on the card, which really blows my mind. I did want to sort of make a few points because I wanted to be honest. There were some good things in here. There were some good points made, but it's just really inconsistent. The High Priestess was really good. It was really talking about being your own oracle and looking within for your answers and finding your answers within. And it even had a line in there that talked about bridging the gap between the light and the dark, which is shadow work. And having the High Priestess be like a shadow work, a face yourself card was really good. Like, I love that. I thought that was brilliant for a High Priestess. But then to follow that up, the Emperor was really negative. Like, it was talking about being willing to put others down below you so that you can take control, and ruling takes a cruel hand. It was a really dark card, which seemed very strange. I've never read an Emperor description in a guidebook that was so dark. Let's see if you would like to read that, what I am talking about. Let me find it. If you can see that, I honestly don't know. Like I said, new camera angles, things go crazy. There we go. I don't know if light made it better or worse, but anyways, if you wanted to pause and read that, you can. But it was just really dark, and that's just strange to me. Like, when did Emperor become a negative card? And the Hierophant, which is really that sort of like tradition and like, finding a mentor and learning someone else's system, like that sort of tried and true method kind of card, in my opinion. To be fair, that's my opinion. The whole message is to question your teachers. Like, your teachers may be false. You should ask questions, which just seems really strange. I thought the Lovers was gorgeous. Anything else that really got me? For a card, most of it is sort of, it really is a balanced deck. It's just that the cards that are dark aren't usually the typical dark cards, and the cards that are light are usually the dark cards. There's very fluffy meanings for like the Ten of Swords, but death in this book, If you would like to pause and read that, you are welcome to. Death is death. They're telling you to face your mortality. Like, whoa. I was not expecting that from a, like, essentially fairy deck, especially a deck that gives such a fluffy description of the Ten of Swords. It was really strange. Also, one thing that I want to note in here is in, like, almost all of these descriptions, there's something in almost every single one about give back to the community. Like, in cards that don't really relate to each other. It's just, like, thrown in, give back to the community. I don't know if that's something that personally they're just hoping to, like, subliminally shove into everybody, or if that was supposed to be there. I don't know. It was very weird. The Three of Swords is deception, not any kind of heartache, which was interesting. There are quite a few card meanings that just didn't make sense. I wrote a list of them. Six of Swords doesn't make sense. Seven of Swords doesn't make sense. Eight of Swords doesn't make sense. Which, here's that page if you want to pause and look and see what you think. So the purple part of the description is supposed to be describing what's on the card, and then there's a meaning below it. And a lot of times they don't match, like what you read about in the card, and then there's just like a meaning pulled out of left field. I don't really know what they were thinking. The court cards, I made note the court cards were actually pretty good, which was interesting. Usually if a deck's gonna go wrong, that's where it goes wrong. So that was pretty interesting. I noted the cards that were good, and there were definitely a few, but most of my notes really are just this card was bad, that card was bad, this meaning doesn't make any sense. And I just got a real disconnect from it. So the only thing that I can really sort of take away from this is that this guidebook was really a throwaway, and it wasn't something they were really worried about. The only spread, let me find it. Yeah, so the only spread that they give is this month. That's it. Monthly theme spread for the Circle of Life Tarot. And it's just one card, read each card for the theme of the month for the year. It's the only spread they give you, which is just lazy. I mean, and then because it's Lo Scarabeo, so then we go into the other, what am I looking for? The other languages. Sorry, I blanked there for a minute. Anyways, and that just really depressed me because I'm very much into the reading material that comes with the deck. So it really kind of just got me in a mood of just bleh. So cards, here we go. Let's run through quickly. I don't think these are in, of course these aren't going to be in order anymore, are they? No. So here's the back, and then I'll pause for a second so I can get these cards in order so we can flip through quickly. Okay, quick walk through the cards. Sorry the lighting is not super fantastic, but we will try. So, and again, I like these cards. Fool, Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress. I gotta be honest, I don't get a mirror in the Empress, especially with all the talk about shadow work and the High Priestess. If you were gonna put a mirror somewhere, it should have been there. Or, you know, again, the art was probably done and then the guidebook, so who knows? Or maybe not, I don't know. And then this was the, like, crazy dark, be a cruel master emperor card. Very strange. I mean, I guess if you're somebody who's against organized religion, I could see how you could say question your teachers when you're looking at a guy who looks kind of, I don't know. It didn't make sense. This Lover's card is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I don't really see a lot of movement in this Chariot. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but I love this Justice. She's a mermaid. How cool is that? There's some, like I said, again, I'll be repeating myself through this whole walkthrough. There's some good stuff in here. This wheel is absolutely freaking amazing. So you have all of the planets, you have all the zodiac, they're all around the Ouroboros, and then the Ouroboros is being held up by a scarab. The imagery in this card is phenomenal. And then this strength, being circular, where sometimes you can be on the bottom and sometimes you can be on the top, is a brilliant use of the shape. And I felt the same way for the Hanged Man, because sometimes he is really going deep, and then sometimes when I don't throw him across the room, sometimes he's hanging down. It's really good. This death card is fantastic. I love this one. There's a lot of beauty in this. And again, like the tower is another one where you can either be falling or you can be flying up. The way they look with their wings, sometimes it looks like they're flying if you're upside down. And I do actually weirdly like the sun. It's very strange, but I'm into it. I think that the symbolism is really cool. Judgment is this angel standing on the world, blowing this crazy horn. Love it. I mean, if I just wasn't so put off by how crazy. So here's the Ace of Cups. 2, 3. I don't know if the light is getting this good. 4, 5, 6, 7. Something else to note is quite a few cards really seem to fit with the standard. If you're a Rider-Waite person, you could look at this card and be like, oh, that means whatever your Rider-Waite meaning is. And then some of these like go completely left field. So there's really no answer to, is this a standard or not? It is sometimes. 10. I will say I like that there's no words. It's just the symbol and the number. And then Page, which I think they called a knave in the book, but Page of Cups, Knight of Cups, Queen of Cups, which is really gorgeous. Swimming with that dolphin, big fan, big fan. And King of Cups, he's awesome too. Ace of Swords, really weird, gotta be honest. 2 of Swords. This is one of the ones that Courtney over at Lantern Light Tarot really had a problem with. Like in the book it says no one's been stabbed yet, but literally he's been stabbed. Like if you can see that, there's a sword through his wing clearly. So that's just one of those things, like how do you get that wrong? Do you need glasses, or did you see a preliminary art of the card where he hadn't been yet, which I suppose is a possibility. 4, that is amazing, and I love that the chakras are like colored in so you can see all the colors of the chakras going up. That's fantastic. Love that card. 5, 6, 7 of Swords, 8, pretty standard 8. 9's pretty standard. 10, so they're not really like, they haven't really been stabbed, but they're like sinking into this water and there's swords everywhere. They're dead. There's a fluffy description in the book. Page, Knight, Queen, King, Ace of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, 3, and again, like that's a super standard, like you can get the standard meaning out of that pretty easy. And the same with this one, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which interesting that that's 2 women. That's pretty cool. Page, Knight, Queen. I actually really like all of the queens, for being honest here. I think all the queens really I'm on board for. King. There's quite a few women or women-looking characters and the kings too, which is cool. Ace of Wands. I really love the Saints of Wands. This idea of the egg is very exciting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a very weird departure from the standard. This is not like the wands flying across the page. She's walking away with a severed head, so that's pretty dramatic. 9, 10, page, knight, queen, and king. So there's a walkthrough of all of the cards and my opinion and my thoughts on the Terrible guidebook. I'm not going to do a reading for this deck because I honestly don't connect with it anymore. Like, there was a very clear separation. By the time I was done with the guidebook, I was done with the deck. So I won't be reading for it, and I am actually looking to trade it. This is very cheap. It's mass market. If you're somebody in the US who has another random mass market deck that you'd be interested in trading this one for, feel free to let me know. My email is below. It's foolonajourney@gmail.com. And as always, thanks for watching.